So we have our materials and we can start crocheting our granny square. First we need the yellow. We start with a magic ring, and in that magic ring we're gonna chain 2 and then 7 single crochets, which will make a total of 8 stitches in that magic ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we have 8 stitches now. We're gonna close the magic ring and we will close that first round of single crochets. Okay, and you can even get your little, the middle of the flower, your daisy, and we are ready to start with the white. And they got tangled, of course. So there. We will get this white. You can start anywhere you want. We will make 8 petals for our daisy. And the first one is always a little bit tricky because it doesn't the first one is a chain always, the first stitch. So there we go. We have chain 3 or even 2 is okay too, and then we will make a clusters of 4 for the rest of them. For this one will be 3 double crochets. So we will yarn over once, pull through, and then pull through 2 yarn overs, and then keep that on your hook. One more yarn over, one more double crochet that we still haven't finished, just keep it on the hook, and then one more yarn over, and then one more stitch that we're gonna keep on the hook, this here split, and then now we will get them together. So here's our first cluster, and then we'll chain 2 between the petals of our daisy. Then we'll have again the same thing, but this time we'll have 4 double crochets sitting on our hook that we're gonna get together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 double crochets, but from the previous chain we have one more a loop, so we actually have 5 loops on our hook waiting. So there we go, chain 2, and one more time yarn over, and we are looking for the next stitch. We carry the loose ends in the back under our petals, so we don't have to weave them in later, and it makes for more clear and nice work in the back. So 1 double crochet sitting and waiting, the second one sitting and waiting, the third one waiting, and then the fourth one. Pull through, and then again we have 4 double crochets, 1 from the previous, and then pull through all of them, chain 2. One more time, yarn over, we're finding the next stitch, and then pull through the first, the second, and then I'll be back when I'm finished with the round and I'll show you how I connect to the beginning. So here I am back in the beginning, and I'm finding that first stitch that's on the top of that first petal, and then I'll make a little slip stitch here and I'll close my round, and I have a total of 8 petals now, or I should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, I did good. So I can cut my yarn off here, and then I can get my next color, which I decided to be that pretty color. All right, so I will make sure I move this yarn along here, so when I stitch over it, it's hidden under. And I'll cut this one off. I don't need it anymore. So it makes it nice and pretty now in the back. So you can start at any space you want. And that will be our first corner. So we'll make 4 corners and one cluster of 3 double crochets between the corners. So we start with chain 5, and that chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, will be the first double crochet that's gonna count for one of the clusters, and then we will do 3 double crochets and we'll carry that yarn again in the back. You can of course make a slip stitch there, a slip knot if you want to keep it more secure. So we're gonna do a cluster of 3 double crochets, and here you're able to see better. We have that first cluster, and then we have one of the double crochet that's gonna belong to the other cluster that we're gonna do when we come back. All right, so we did the first corner, or half of it, and then we'll have the first empty space. I'm carrying my yarn, so a cluster of 3 double crochets here, and then comes the next corner, and the next corner is classic. 3 double crochets and 1 empty spot, one chain. One chain, and then 3 more. Okay, 3 more. We are done, and we do the next chain space with clusters of 3, and then corner again, just a cluster of 3, corner. All right, here I am back to the beginning of that first corner, and I'm done with this cluster. So in that little corner, I'm gonna have 2 double crochets because I already have that chain 3 here. But even if you pull it really strong, it gets really short. So when leaving only one chain, go into that stitch, a slip stitch here, and then you just connect your 2 double crochets, and then you have a cluster of 3 again. So the pattern is full. So we close this, and we go through the back carefully, and a few more times. I sometimes even go back a bit, leave a couple of stitches and go over. All right. Okay, and then I'm cutting these off. This All right, back again here. And now we're gonna connect them. We will lead the working yarn from under the stitches. We will use only the back loop. So if you look at your granny square here, here are your front loops and here are your back loops. So we will use only the back loops and the corresponding back loops of the other granny square. And this way they will be able to lay flat when we connect them. So here we go. So here are my two sides. Here's my working yarn. I'm picking the first double crochet here, the top of it. And I'm picking that first double crochet here, also the top of the stitch. And I'm taking only the back loops. And I'm pulling my working yarn through them. Okay. And then since I've started with that one, I'll go again to this one again, and then I'll pick up the back loop and I'll pick the corresponding back loop. I'll get my working yarn and I'll make a slip stitch here. Don't make it too tight because you want it to have some movement to it and it doesn't shrink your granny squares. So again, I'm picking this loop. I'm picking the same loop from the other granny square. I am getting some of the working yarn and I'm connecting them. Okay, one more time. And then look in the back. We are just leading that working yarn in the back. Well, of course that yarn likes splitting, but it's such a pretty color and it's so soft. I just love it. Okay, so we grab again those little back loops. We grab again that little working yarn. We pull through. And again, one from here, working yarn. One from this, one from that, and a working yarn. One from this, oops, just a loop. One from that, and we have the working yarn.